Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. All right then, let's head into today's conversation.
Hi Adam, hi Prince, hi Seram, how you all doing?
Hi.
Hi, Elikim.
Hi Seram. Isn't your voice is sounding extra soft today?
Extra soft.
All in celebration of International
Yeah.
Women's Day. That's nice. Today is our women's show, so I encourage everyone to join and support us, appreciate our women, and discuss things that are important to them. So I will hand over to, Mimi is just pulling up. So when Mimi joins, I'll hand over to her and Stayram so that y'all can run your show. Hi Mimi, welcome. Hello Mimi. Okay, since we can't reach Mimi just yet, Stayram, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Elikim. I think today is my first time on your hot seat. And I was
so too, yeah.
really not looking forward to it because Mimi, can you hear us?
Hi, everyone.
Oh, yes, Mimi has saved the day. Hi, Mimi, over to you.
Anyway, hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Today is International Women's Day, as we've all been making noise about, and I think the focus is on equity and women are bracing themselves with digital skills. And so today we just want to spend time talking about why a woman should have control over her own money. I invited Abna Sika. She's in the audience. So if we can bring her up, so that this discussion won't be between me and Sarah alone. We have another lady also joining us, have this very fruitful discussion. But before we continue, let me just find out how the guys are doing. Elikim, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. It's there's a lot of pressure going on, but God day.
Okay, sorry. Let me get my son to keep quiet. So,
all part of the women's duties. And then how about you? Since they were checking on us, the men.
Oh,
how are you also doing?
Elikim, I'm doing well. The pressure is getting worse and worse.
Charlie. Hey, it's Ghana.
Ghana is becoming very interesting. We are told the Nigerian route.
Hey, no, please. It's crazy that way. No offense to them, but I was having a conversation with a group of my classmates, and a couple of days after their election, and when they were waiting for the results, and the things that they were talking about, like politics in Nigeria, I was like, you know what, Ghana is okay. Like Ghana is fine.
Oh, Ghana is very fine. I was actually talking about it in terms of the interest rates,
So they've been able to bully the market into accepting
bullied us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They have bullied us into accept it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
was expected.
Any alternatives. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear.
You said you don't think there are any alternatives?
I don't think there are any any investments you get at such high interest rate in the way. So I think it's a good time to bully.
Hey, the one who can't even pay their bills are coming to dictate terms. Okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, Adam, how are you doing? How are you celebrating us?
Oh, Mimi, I'm doing good. I've been following on what's going on, catching up to see how the International Women's Day is going. It's just that it looks like the SONA has overshadowed the Ghana once more. But later in the evening, I hope to catch up with the ring the bell for gender equality or something like that by the GSC. So later in the
Oh,
evening, I'll know on that. Yeah.
you are very involved. Okay, let me speak to Prince. Prince, I know you love women in a good way. How is it going for you?
Hello, Mimi. It's been fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a session with our ladies at work. Currently working from home, so I joined and I listened. And I think that it's ladies are really taking up a lot of things in our corporate world as to their contribution that they are bringing across. So I think it's in a nutshell, it's been a well celebrated day for the ladies.
Thank you, Prince. Elikem, your hands are up.
Yes, I have a very big question, especially on this day. How can you how can somebody love ladies in the wrong way? Because you qualified that Prince loves ladies in a good way. So is what is the wrong way?
I'm saying that in this context, we are talking about something very serious. And
Mhm.
Prince likes like he's rooting for us. Do you get it? So it's not like he's a womanizer. He's rooting for us. That's what I meant.
You're not helping your
Maybe
kids, but
I'm
okay.
spoiling his
All right.
prospects if
Yes.
I don't say it well.
Okay, all right. That was just on the lighter side anyway.
Anyway, so as I said, welcome. So today we're going to talk about why women should take control of their finances. I would love Abna to join me upstage. If Abna, if you can kindly join me here. If you can't, that's fine. Seiram and I can have that conversation. So Seiram, why do you think women, I mean, throughout the years, we've known women as mostly, staying at home, taking care of the kids. And even as we have even graduated in quotes to working and making our own money, most of the time the responsibility is on the men, especially in this side of town. So why should women be taking control of their finances anyway? I put this in my WhatsApp status and someone says that we'll spend our husband's money. Don't worry us. So why do you think we should even be having this discussion?
Okay, it's true. We spend our husband's money, so why worry? But it's interesting, Mimi, because when we start out as single ladies, like we're trying to make our own money. But the funny thing is, when some of us begin to couple up, get into marriage, then decide that we would now take a back seat, right, and rather let our spouses handle our money. I don't know what the reasons are, but in my opinion, I just feel like it's because we sort of lack the confidence, right, when it comes to managing our finances, not necessarily because the men are better at it. So that's actually one of the reasons I think we tend to shelve. But I like to speak to facts, right? GS, so I'm going to relate it to Ghana. Even though if you look at research, it's still within the context of the world. It's the ratios or the proportions haven't changed. According to Ghana Statistical Service, women earn less than men. In fact, there was a recent survey that was done on public income, public sector salary, public sector workers. Yes, and the results were that the men were earning more than the women. On a general scale, I think the report said that women earn less than 30% of what men actually earn. And Ghana is actually one of two countries in sub-Saharan Africa where these gaps are very extreme. Secondly, we outlive men. We live longer than men. I don't know why, but statistics shows that women live longer than men. So when you don't end up taking your finances seriously, by the time you realize if your spouse should pass on, you realize that then you are at the point where you have to now start afresh. And speaking about spouse passing on, you realize that 65% of people, sorry, I think about 86% of widowed people are women. And I personally have a friend who is just about 35 years old who lost her husband last year. And the husband, I would say, was a sole breadwinner. So now she is at a point where she has 2 children and she now has to take up that role of controlling her finances. And this is something she has to now start afresh. So these are some of the reasons why I think that women should take control, because eventually it gets to a point where you may just be thrown into the world where there is no man to fall back on, and then where do you start from? Again, most of us who are married get married, and then we are happy to shelve the responsibilities to women. Yet a lot of these marriages are ending in divorces, and you realize that women are worse off when marriages fail, because men end up when they have to start afresh, realize that they now. Sorry, just a second.
Okay, while we wait for Seram to conclude on, I just wanted to ask the men, right? Do you guys mind, carrying all the burden, even if there wasn't divorce and there wasn't death? How do you guys feel about carrying the whole fine? I know. Okay, Elike.
Do we have a choice?
Oh.
On this matter, I think it's also part of how we were raised. One time, I was having a conversation with some years ago. I was having a conversation with some friends, 2 different ladies at different times, and they had done their masters. They had one had worked abroad and come back to Ghana, and she was talking to a guy, and she was probably around 27 by then, and she couldn't understand why this guy is saying, oh, he wants to. He's not ready to settle down or marry because he has to get to a certain level of income and all that. And she's like, what do you have to worry about? Like, I can also support, and I make some decent money. We can do this. But you see, there's a saying, and I can't say it, and I'll translate it to English. It says, "Tu I see bemabo." So we've been growing up thinking with this understanding of when the gun fires, it hits the chest of a man, that literally translating it such that the back stops with us. So we have a certain great sense of responsibility. And I'm speaking more conservatively or traditionally, so this is how we were raised, and we just know that, look, anything that should happen, that should be the case. If you are going to buy anything, yes, your partner is going to, you may think your partner is going to be supporting, but I would want to make sure that I can afford it entirely on my own and not have to depend on the other person. It's just the upbringing.
Interesting. I'll go back to Seram right now, but it's interesting that I heard that men these days are looking for women who have jobs. So if you don't have a job, you are likely to be dropped, because I think we are all looking for the softer life. Anyway, Seram.
Yeah, Mimi, that's very true. The thing is, the way the economy is these days, single income households becomes very, very tough. Meaning that if you are in a house where only one person is working, Charlie, things are hard. So men are also looking for people, and Ghana is known to be one of the nations with very low income. So if I can get someone who would support, you realize that there's even less disagreement and less stress when it comes to money, less quarrels in the relationship, because compared to when one person, all the financial pressure is just on one person.
Great. And so you were talking about the reasons why women, I think you ended at divorce and, the women being vulnerable. Are there any other reasons? Or
Oh, yes. So, yes. Again, we all don't go into marriages to get divorced. Let me just issue that disclaimer. But things happen, and then these are some of the realities, right? And I feel one main thing for me is your mental health. You know, when you are dependent on someone, when you are in a relationship and you are dependent on someone financially, even when the relationship is not treating you well, you are obliged to still, you are kind of forced to still be in there, because what else are you going to do? So your mental health is at stake, your sanity is at stake. But when you have your own money, or you are in control of your own finances, you are able to take some of these decisions. It doesn't have to be relationship as in only marriage. Even the circle of friends that you if you are dependent, you are the type who is dependent on people, even your parents. If you are dependent on your parents, even if the situation, the atmosphere is toxic, you are still there. But then once you are able to control your own money, or you have financial freedom, you are able to remove yourself from any toxic situation or relationship. And yeah, so it also gives you the power to make certain decisions, like your career path. Money is power, Mimi. Money is power.
from a rich auntie, money is power. Okay, Abna, thanks for joining in. I know you're an advocate for women having their own money. Can you also add to what Sayram said?
Hi everyone, happy International Women's Day to all our female listeners. To the guys, your greetings will come when it's International Women's Day. Anyway, on the topic on why women should take control of their finances, I'm going to argue from the fact that some women already is and are underpaid, and also it costs a lot to be a woman, both financially and emotionally. We women are seen as the shock absorbers, we tolerate all the nonsense. And I feel like many a times, because this conversation of being a submissive woman, I'm going to speak for a woman in a relationship, as in married or in a boyfriend girlfriend. How this doctrine, I don't know how to put it, whether it's a theory or doctrine, please correct me, that says that women should be submissive to the men. So we tend to allow the men to take lead. There could be a relationship where the woman might be earning more than the man, but I don't know, because of this doctrine, the woman may feel that I have to make myself small for the man to become big. I don't know if you've come across that instances, but there are many times you see a well-accomplished woman enter into a relationship. She might be having all the degrees and all the money, but enters into a relationship with like a basic guy. I'm so sorry if it sounds condescending, but the lady will end up becoming small for the guy to become big. And with this, she might feel, even if I earn a lot, I have to give everything to the guy to handle. And most of the times too, I feel that women are not able to control their finances because they don't have the right information. For me, I always use myself as an example. It was just last year that I got to understand what investment was. I got to understand, a woman can actually invest. A woman can actually have wealth, create wealth for herself, and not sound selfish or something. You're just building yourself up. But I feel lots of women do not have the right information. Even if they have the money, they don't even know what to do with it. And so they'll rather diminish themselves or make themselves small for the men to become big. And in the end, it goes against, it ends up biting them. So this is what we are facing in our society. And we are living in a society where they are telling a woman, hey, you don't have to be the same with a woman. We are still in this 2023, we are still fighting for equality and equity. I don't know which is which, but I know you understand. Equality and equity between a man and a woman. And all the thing that society is saying, I think it forms a part of the problem. Like if you have a woman if you have money as a woman, no man can marry you. If you do this, like society has made everything look like marriage is the end goal for women. And so we try to make ourselves small. This is how I'm going to present my case. I hope you understand. I'll end here and maybe back to you.
I totally get you. I think men are valued based on the money they have, and women, marriage and babies, I guess. And Prince, you wanted to say something?
Right, baby. So I'm tracing back to I think Elikem's submission earlier with the adage that etutu esibemabo, right? Yeah, I think he gave us the English version of it. I believe that this is an adage that has come of age, and I mostly feel that it is very important that women get involved financially about knowing a lot of things about their finances, right? Because there's a saying that I don't know how to say it in the English language. I believe you understand what I'm saying, and I
When
believe that.
we collect a break.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Yeah, and I think now you are a lot of most men are looking for ladies who are also bringing something to the table, right? So it's very important that ladies become self-dependent on their own, because it brings peace of mind, and there's some form of dignity when you are self-dependent, right? So I interact with a lot of families, and sometimes, most often, you see that when it comes to taking financial decisions in the house, I think the men are quite ahead of the women. I mean, when you meet families that even both couples are working, but I think that as we keep preaching about International Women's Day, I think it's time for the women to take control of their finances, because it's very important. You don't want to even end up in a relationship where you don't bring anything to the table. You become a burden to the man, and I mean, always it will be a source of reference that the man can stand on it to make say certain things to you that you might not. It's not quite welcoming if you had your own money for yourself. So I think that most of these powerful women that in history, you talk about the Oprahs, you talk about, I mean, the Obamas. These are people who have control of their money. So regardless what their husbands are making, I mean, today, if touched with the marriage is no more there, they can still live their life. So I think that women should get involved. They should learn the basis of finance. They should make financial decisions, and they should build their own wealth, which will bring them some form of peace and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Prince. And I think, as Abna said, there's a social, religious, and everything behind this. And sometimes it's also based on the family dynamics. Can you imagine an alpha male and alpha female in a marriage deciding who to deal with finances? At the same time, some marriages may have what I call cow men, and maybe a woman that can take charge. But because they say, it's the man's responsibility, she also doesn't. And the whole family is in trouble because the skills that she would have brought to this table, Prince is talking about, she's put aside because it is the man's responsibility. Lee.
Hello, guys. Good evening.
Good evening, Lee.
I want to comment on men okay with buying everything. Honestly, I don't think anybody wants to ideally want to be responsible for everything in the relationship. But then I think certain dynamics also play a part in this type of situations, right? And in most cases, women like to be taken care of. That's the thing. Wherever you go, however you twist the issue, women generally want to be taken care of. So sometimes when it comes to finances, you find sometimes you pamper me, do everything. It's mostly in a few few occasions where the woman is like, no, I also want to do this, I also want to do that, right? I don't want to leave everything on you. And I think someone made mention that women are bad at management. I think when it comes to management, women do way better than men. It's just that the way they do it is quite different from men. But I think women are better at managing than men in certain cases, right? Like, look at our market women. Like, it's been stated that the market women actually make a lot of money than a lot of people who sit in offices, right? So I think when it comes to management, women, they have in a way an upper hand. That is how come I think they are mostly considered as good managers for the home because they know how to manage things. And to me, I think it's best to have your woman manage, say, some aspects of money spending if they are, for lack of a better word, up for it, right? So to manage the money for the home, there's that sometimes some of these things are quite dicey, but in helping women take control of their finances, right? I think you also have to bear in mind that it gets to a point where that's how do I call it? Women still want to be taken care of, kind of thing, especially those who are in a relationship, right? So you have to, I think, try to balance the scale for both parties. But for me, I'm all up for it.
Thank you, Lee. I'm just wondering, why do women like to be taken care of? Is it a cultural thing or is it a general thing? Because I feel like in this side of town, if you go to or I have had moments where I've gone to the office and it's like this one's husband has bought her a car, this one, then you begin to ask yourself, hey, what's happening to me? But
I can relate.
I don't know, but I think it's a biological thing, right? I think it's a biological thing because that's why I'm saying
Yeah,
that no matter what, no matter how strong a woman wants to be, for me, I think that aspect will still play out no matter how strong she is. It will get to a she still wants to be, and I think probably society has made it okay for women to always be taken care of all the time. But aside that, I think it's still part of their biology, like for women to want to be taken care of at a point in time.
I have an issue with this particular one, whether it's something that we want or is honestly peer pressure, because for me personally, if my husband said he was buying me something, I wouldn't like receive it just like, unless I know he has a lot of money, I wouldn't just receive it. That is me. But as I say, you go to the office, Val's Day, someone has red roses and someone has a kind, you realize your hard girl life, you're wondering. But I think it's because of what you've seen, that peer pressure. If that wasn't there, really would
so let me
I want to be taken care of? I
you just made a statement, the hard girl mentality, you start questioning, like, what is making you wonder what is going on? Like, how that
Because other people are having life softer. Get it?
so
I'll
did you
come back to you. Yeah, I'll come back to you. Let me move to
all right,
Sarah. It
yeah.
seems she likes this soft life discussion.
Oh, Mimi, I think it's only you then, because truthfully, my money is sweet, oh, but my husband's money is sweeter. Like,
Where you
I
are.
can I can have whatever I can earn. I can make my own money, right? I make my own money. But anytime, even if it's 100 CDs, right? Anytime my husband dashes me money, I don't know. It just comes with some extra oomph, something that I can't explain. It's the excitement. So I'm not in any way saying that you shouldn't be taken care of by your husband's money or someone's money. The point is, I'm trying to say is that yes, and if your husband can afford it, if your partner can afford it, enjoy the person's money. If it's your parents, enjoy the person's money, but still have a plan for your own. Okay, so as you are enjoying, as the person is pledging, giving you the money, let me use the case of a married couple. If your husband is rich and has said that, okay, I want you to quit your job, I want you to stay at home and take care of the kids. Before you do that, you have to have an agreement or an arrangement. Is there going to be a monthly salary or stipend or allowance? What is it? And then from that, right, you have to make sure that you are investing or you are saving or putting money aside for a rainy day. The fact that we are not saying don't enjoy the money that your husband, because by all means enjoy it, it's yours. I think it stems from how we were created, from the rib, it's under the arm. Oh, so we are supposed to be covered and protected and spoiled. So by all means, receive all those things. But then, whilst you are doing that, don't think about the rainy day, the what ifs, right? And then be putting money aside, or ensure that you are saving for the future, because that supply from your husband could run dry. Right, anything. COVID happened. We saw people lose their jobs. So anything can happen. So whilst you are enjoying, please make sure that you are also putting money aside for a rainy day.
You said Momo is the new love language, right? Elikem.
No, I'll pass. Yeah, right.
Oh, why you pass?
I just, when Sarah was talking, she reminded me of something. Let me just mention this story.
Okay.
So once upon a time, so I was with someone who, the person doesn't ask for money and all that or not, but one time I went to the ATM, I took money out. This is many years ago. I took money out, and then it was 20 CD notes, right? Then she was like, "Oh, just give me one." I was like, "But you don't need it." It's like, "Oh, just give me one." And I gave it to her, and she was so happy. It's, like Sarah was saying, maybe there's a certain emotional sense of excitement or whatever. What else? Yeah.
I have to connect to my calling as a missing rib then. Lee.
Yeah. So when I made mention of the women being taken care, I wasn't only talking about financial, right? It also has that emotional aspect to it, right? So, like you said, the gift and all that, it's not necessarily giving women money, but sometimes having a listening ear and all that. Also, so like I said, it's a woman biological thing, right? Yes, men also want it, but I think men have a way of, should I say, shielding some of these things. I don't know how, but then like I also attribute that to the biology, right? So yeah, basically. So I like Seram's submission, right? That also, as much as you enjoy, receiving the gifts and being pampered and all that, still prepare for a rainy day, because anything can happen. Right? And I think that is what should probably be the center of trying to make women take control of their money, right? Because honestly, anything can happen. And if your husband or your boyfriend or whoever is the one doing everything for you, what happens if he's no longer there one day, or if the means of provision is no longer available? Then what happens to you?
Thanks, Lee. And even in the case where they even are able to give you, I don't know, but are they able to meet all your needs? There are even people who have rich husbands, but the husband is stingy. So, what happens in this case?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So Paulina said she wants to be independently dependent. I think that's a nice one. We can we can steal as women, independently dependent. We got our money, but we want to spend yours as well. Nice. Okay, Prince.
All right, Mimi. So I think women in general, okay, women in general, if yes, sir, good evening. If you are to profess that you love them, right, in general, I mean, you should definitely show them something. Okay, you should definitely show them something. So, women, how do you keep on telling a lady you love the person and you don't show anything? So, most of the time, ladies do enjoy. Most ladies like their people that profess love to them, showing them some kind of showering them with presents and other things. I think it's a general thing. Yeah, maybe not all, but I know that most of the people most ladies will prefer their men expressing their love to them through the giving of gifts and money and all that, right? We have some ladies too who don't like that, right? Yeah, and even if you are in a relationship with them and you've not even married them, they prefer not to take anything from you until you've made a decision to settle down with them, right? Yeah. So I feel that generally ladies are like that. So if the guys are spending on them, I mean it's quite okay. And you, even in general, any money that you have not worked for that is given to you, spending it is very sweet, very very sweet. Because let me give an example. Last week, I was craving for Chinese, but how to buy the money, how to use my money to buy the Chinese, it was a problem. So I was there when my boss called me that, Prince, we had some money coming in, so please take this 500 for the weekend. Immediately, I went to buy the Chinese. I didn't even think about it twice. Right. So I think that the more you are enjoying our money, please also spend on us so that we can also feel that you are there for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Prince. You didn't call us come and eat some of the
Oh,
Chinese.
Oh, Charlie, don't worry. You do it another time.
We've not been hearing from Prince, not knowing he was eating Chinese. Okay, Lee, I'll come back to you. We're talking about why women should take charge of their finances. We're talking about the fact that even though we love to spend men's money, and the fact that for most of us that's our love language, we also attest to the fact that we can't be totally dependent on men. One, because times are harder than usual, school fees, rent, all sorts of bills to pay, and only the men cannot handle it. In fact, Prince stated that now men are looking for financially stable women that they can partner with, and not liabilities in quotes, or people who bring nothing to their table. Seram also spoke about the fact that sometimes you rely on a partner and for some reason they are no longer there. It could be due to death, adding medical incapacitation, or has been the case recently. I think since the banking crisis, crisis.
Easy. Calm down.
Since the banking crisis, there's been a lot of job loss, followed by COVID, and then this whole debt restructuring. I know a few people have lost their jobs. So if your man was working in one of these places and is at home now, and he's the only one that was bringing in the money, what are you going to do? All of a sudden, the family goes from whatever amount to zero. And then also for our own independence, sometimes you want to buy something. You even want to surprise your husband, as Prince is encouraging us to do. Where are you going to get the money from? From your own money, So I think that's great. So let's talk about how women can do it. Let's also remember that as women, we also have certain things, I won't say things against us, but sort of against us. There's the societal bit, like Abna mentioned, which is a real issue where you don't want to be too rich, so that you are seen as not submissive, or people avoid you. At the same time, you also I've forgotten my thoughts, the train of my thoughts, but you don't want to come out as you are so that you are wife material. Let me put it that way. Wife material, humble, you don't have much total. And I think generally men like women that are dependent on them. They don't like a fully independent woman. I think men thrive from knowing that I can provide for this person. So where do we start from as women? What do we have to do as women to start making our own money or start putting things in order? And also, what I wanted to say is that women also tend to spend a lot. And I may be mistaken, other people can speak, but I remember walking into a this skincare shop, and I saw someone with a smooth face. If you see my face, you understand why I was interested in the person with the smooth face. So I just asked how much for the product to get this kind of face, and it turns out there was this lady that had come to shop, and the products were worth 1,200. Then I understood why people have sugar daddies, because just my face alone, 1,200. Yeah, it's a lot. So how do we, within all these challenges we have, and the fact that most of us didn't like math and find finance cumbersome, start taking charge of our finances? And I'll start with you, Sarah.
Hey, thank you. So, Mimi, you mentioned, you talked about how things work against us. One thing that maybe I just want to add to that is, we women are more likely to take career breaks, right? So for those of us who are in the corporate world, or even have our own businesses, if you're married, along the line, kids come in, if you don't have enough help, or support, you find that you usually it's you have to kind of take a career break, and these are some of the things that also affect us. I remember personal experience when we were on lockdown, and I think during COVID, and we're all working from home. I had the baby then, and we are all working from home. It's not like my husband working from home, I'm also working from home. But then guess what? When the baby starts crying, and even if I'm in a meeting, who has to stop and then take care of the baby? It was embedded, like it was implied that I had to take care of. We were both working from home, yet I had to pause on my work and then sort out lunch, even though we are both working from home. So these are some of the things that really work, for lack of better word, against the woman, and reinforces why we need to take our money seriously. I think where do we start from? The first thing is to get educated. Fortunately for us, we are blessed with an abundance of knowledge. Like there are so many. In fact, there's Money Convos as one. There's so many platforms. There's so much information on YouTube, free resources. And the thing is that, yes, there's the myth that learning about finance is complicated. But once you have it really isn't. Once you have been able to do primary mathematics, GSS mathematics, you should be fine. It's addition and subtraction, really. It isn't really that technical. So just get the understanding, basic personal finance knowledge. There are so many resources. There's so many YouTube channels. There's Instagram. There are so many movements on Facebook. Now we are in that digital world, so let's leverage on it. So that is where I would start from. And then secondly, the second thing I will start from is go back to the basics. Have a plan. Like, you don't just get up and say, okay, I want to start take control over my money. You need to have a plan. Why do you need to have get in control over your money? What do you have to start putting money down for? How are you going to now start looking at your expenditure? If you are getting monthly stipends, for instance, if you are not employed and you are getting monthly stipends, for instance, from your husband, how are you using it? You need to budget. These are like basic things. We say it all the time, but it is these basic things that will actually help us to get to our this financial freedom or financial journey that we are all working towards. So get yourself educated, have a plan, budget, have an emergency fund. And then even if you are not working, you are not in the corporate world, and you are a stay-home mom, there are so many ways now people are making money online through social media, through tech. Learn a new skill. These are things that you can actually leverage onto. I would pause here, and then maybe Abnasika could add to it.
Sure. And after Abna, I'll go to Elikem on how the men can also support us. Abna. Hello, Abna. Okay, I think Abna's microphone is not appearing, so she may have some connectivity issues. Elikem, how can you support us secure the bag?
So the first
Before
way is
that,
we have money convos, right?
Elikem,
Okay.
before that,
Mhm.
can you hear me? I
Yeah, I
know
can.
you also like women, in quotes,
This
or have a lot of lady friends. What have you realized is the challenge among many women when it comes to personal, their finances or taking charge, and then we deal with how you men can support us.
Okay, I think it starts off generally speaking, where it's generally speaking, not a lot of people are comfortable with talking about money, not a lot of people are comfortable with learning about money. And actually, not a lot of people see a need to learn about money. A lot of people just think about finances in the sense of income, not about wealth. And where wealth is more about how much you keep. You can earn 1 million and spend 1 million. You are left with nothing. A lot of people just think, oh, I'll make more money, or how do I improve my income? That's, I think, is generally speaking, that's the thing. For women too, there's a lot of hesitation. Like the things that we've been talking about, not taking charge, ceding things to a man. And I have seen many ladies, like as we've been growing up, I've seen some of my mates, they've gotten way more gifts and benefits than I have, yet they have nothing to show for it, right? And it comes from, sometimes it comes from a sense that, oh, somebody always be there to provide for me. So it's really that leaving things be, knowing that, okay, I should handle this part and let somebody else handle that part. I think that's a major concern on top of the general concern, the general hesitation people have about personal finances. Okay, now moving on to what men can do. One thing, definitely follow Money Convos here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Go on when you get on Instagram, also follow investment friend. Not just as I think you were saying, Abnasika also talks about money. There are many at this point, and I was writing a question, and I think Seram effectively got the answer to that question, because at this point there are so many things supporting women. There are so many courses ready to support women, and I feel like what men can do is offer less resistance. There are men who may feel egotistical about certain things. Yeah, they want their egos to be stroked and all that. I get that. We can have there's emotions on either side. We've been talking about how some, generally speaking, women are more emotional, or some people have said that. It's not a rule, but some people have said that. Yes, men too also have their things. It's fine, but certain things are important. And we need to understand that it's okay to have your own bank account. It's okay for her to have her own bank account. It's okay for her to earn her income. It's okay for men to want to support women to do what they to support themselves. I feel like some men get concerned that, well, if they don't depend on me, then what's my worth? Or they can go and behave anyhow, any other way that they want to do. I think it's also about men realizing that that's the easy way to go. Being a tyrant and expecting that, well, someone should just depend on you. That's really just the easy way. How about looking at it more from a positivity way, where someone knows that, okay, they keep coming back to you because they know there's more that they can get by being in a partnership with you. That's one angle. Some things that I have done in the past and the conversations I've had with young ladies is this, like, remember the case that Sarah just gave of when she was when COVID hit and they were both at home. She was still the one taking care of the baby. I encourage young ladies that while you are young, work hard. While you are young, you are not married, you don't have kids, work hard. Rise to a certain level in your career that if you have to take a career break, if you have to pause, if you have to leave work 2 hours earlier every day, if you don't have to show up on weekends, you will be fine. That way, it sort of sets a floor under what you can, under your earning capability. And as you are doing all these things, it also has a certain way that attracts people. For example, I wouldn't necessarily see, maybe a year ago in Ghana, I wouldn't see a lady driving a Range Rover and try to move to her. There are people who say if you have your own private car, men won't move to you. But what kind of men is it? You know, it brings a certain, when you're at a certain level, you also attract a certain level of quality. You know, so it's, although there are limits to that, the efficacy of that, but story for another day. So I just think that while you can increase your earning capacity, it's not just about, it's good to save money, it's good to invest and all that, seek all the information, but really you also have to earn and be a good professional that people want to pay for your services. So yeah, that's some thoughts on this.
Yeah, Elishem, that's a good one you touched on. And when we as ladies give birth, at least I've managed the female team, you realize that they slow down, not by any fault of theirs, because kids tend to get sick a lot when they are toddlers, and so the same person will be in and out of work, and if you hadn't shown that you are capable, and it's because you are in this situation that you have taken a break, sort of, people will see you as someone who is always giving excuses and not give you opportunities. So that's true. Let's go to Lee.
So, well, I've always been an advocate of, like someone said, independent woman, right? Sometimes it's nice when a woman has her own money. But I think where most guys have a problem is when.
Hi, Lee, can I pause you for just a second? Your voice keeps going up and down. It fades out a bit, so maybe you want to check your mic. Hi, Lee, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, let's try it again.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now. I just hope it stays stable. Yeah.
Is it better?
Yes, okay. This is way better. Yeah.
So, like I was saying, most guys have a problem. They have an issue when a woman is quite well to do, and then all of a sudden it's like it's being rubbed in their face, right? Like, I can do this on my own. I don't need you, or what. And then I think that is where most men have issues with. So I don't think it's necessarily I want the woman to depend on me, but the fact that when most women are well-to-do financially, it comes back to, rub off on some of the men. So that's where most men have issues. But then I think what I think is also quite important is, that's communication between both parties, you need to be able to do this in my absence. You know, at the end of the day, still how both of you have agreed to move forward in life, right? So what the men can also do is actually show the women the importance of being able to do things on your own, because it's not every time, supposing the man is the one providing for the home every time, the money is there, but probably he might be unavailable at a certain point, right? And you need to take a quick decision to settle certain things. If you have to wait for him to come and take care of it, probably by the time he will be free to do that, then things have gone haywire, right? So, but I think the men also, so it's up to, not necessarily up to them, but try to be a bit understanding that women also need to be able to handle certain things in your absence, right? And that should be a premise for helping your girlfriend or your wife to be also to able to make their own money or take control of their finances.
Thank you, Lee. Prince, you can go ahead.
Okay, so Mimi, I am taking it from where you are looking at ways that ladies can scale up when it comes to their finances, and I am quite more interested in the circle of people you find yourself with, right? Yeah. So they said that it's hard to be bold when you are surrounded with people who are timid, right? In the same way, each and everyone, whatever you are aspiring to achieve in life, you should make sure that you find yourself with the same crop of people who are, also looking at that particular thing in life. And I think when it comes to finances, it's very important that you make sure that the circle of people you have are people who are knowledgeable, who are inclined and working towards a particular goal in life, becoming, independent when it comes to finances. And I think as ladies, if we do that, it will go a long way in helping us. I cite an example with the MD of Star Life, that is Kakra Dufour. I'm quite cool with her. And you realize that all the people around her, all of them, they come around and it's like, we go for meeting and whatever they are talking is about, ladies becoming independent, ladies taking up role in the corporate ladder. And if you look at all the people that are close to her, you see that everyone is somewhere in the corporate ladder, right? So this is to let our ladies know that, your circle matters a lot. So if you identify yourself with a rich auntie Serum, draw closer to her. Even if it is going to take time for you to adapt to the kind of pace Serum is going, definitely it will make you better off. But if you are trying to be self-independent and you are following ladies who are who are not much focused on that and are looking elsewhere, you are definitely going to be affected by where you find yourself. So for me, let's look at the friends and the circle we find ourselves in. It will go a long way to impact our journey to achieving financial independence, right? And Mimi, I also want to say that on the call, there's this special someone here who has been very caring pa. And that is in the name of Efri. Efri has been very caring. He's a very strong woman. We go out and Efri doesn't want you to even pay for the things. He wants to pay herself. So, I want to say, thank you very much. And looking forward for bigger collaborations this year and then the year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. If you will be coming for lessons. Prince, I was saying that you you didn't specify which serum we should be learning from. Is it
our rich auntie? Our rich auntie. I'm talking about the rich auntie. We are talking about Mimi. We are talking about Paulina. They are all great women, and I think that ladies on Money Convos, don't just follow them on social media. Just get closer to them, and they have a lot of things that they can put across and affect your life with. Thank you.
Thank you. I was trying to pull one fast joke, but you didn't get it anyway. So that I don't get into trouble. Anyway, so we are talking about this serum, not the other one. Anyway, serum. I do agree with what Prince said. I'll come back to you, Elike, in a bit. I do agree with what Prince said. As ladies, sometimes we are risk averse. So when you associate with the right people, they'll push you. Sometimes we are not confident. That's the word, not confident. So when you associate with the right people that push you, you end up doing things that you never thought you could do. For example, I'm a shareholder thanks to Seiram, the rich auntie. So thank you, Prince, for that point. Elikem.
Oh, I just wanted to make a joke about what Prince was saying because I think we have to read in between the lines of what Prince is saying. There were a lot of adjectives and superlatives used in
I
this
agree.
one, but
I
Eleke, go
agree.
and
you
sleep.
will
In describing
you when we meet. This is roadside. When we
and
meet,
collaborations. Well,
mhm,
thank
you
you.
see, okay.
Thanks. Edem, I've not heard your voice. Then I'll come to Abna. Edem, you
Oh,
also have a lot of lady friends. I can't really tell because you're a bishop. I can't really tell where you fall. And what have you noticed that the challenges, either from afar or close, and what do you think we can do as ladies and what you can do as men to, push us so that we can do you show like if we has been doing Prince show.
Okay, I think generally we cannot discount cultural hindrances and traditional. When I talk about traditional, I'm not talking about the traditional behavior in our society as one of the major drawbacks that affect women. And generally speaking, if you look at society, there are a lot of impediments in the way of a woman. Okay, that's why we talk about breaking the glass ceiling and all of that. So I think people have to be supportive. Men have to be supportive. And like Elikem had already said, what we can do is just offer less resistance, make sure that we support the women that are in our lives. When it comes to studying and learning, improving themselves, being there to explain and to help them. Like, for example, in this Money Convos community, I believe that the beautiful thing about it is that I don't even think we look at it as gendered roles or something. We are just helping each other to become better professionals and better people managing our own finances in our own small way, in our own corner. So I think that's one of the things we can do is to help people and spread the message across and to let people know that it is important to take charge of their finances. Okay, and in actual fact, there are a lot of examples out there. Probably it's not tailored in a certain way that we are looking at. But if you look at a lot of these market women, even some of the Kayaye and things, it's just a little bit of direction, support, and encouragement that will make a whole lot of difference because a lot of people are very industrious and are already working very hard and probably also earning quite a good amount of money. But I think it is just for us to direct them towards, hey, let's say, how can we plan for the future? How can you plan for retirement? How can you plan for managing your income far better than you are already doing? So that as time goes on, we will find more and more women who are out there creating wealth for the next generation and not just be dependent on a man or society to help them to achieve their goals. So I think one of the things we can do is to offer the support as men and encourage people. And like you mentioned, a lot of people probably do not have the confidence. A lot of young women don't have the confidence, probably because of the kind of obstacles that they face. So one of the good things that we can do is that as we help them to take advantage of all the opportunities out there, I believe that more and more people get more confident, will now begin to take on some responsibilities and take on some risk, enter into ventures, partner with people, collaborate like Prince is collaborating, and then I'm sure that we will have better results in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm interested in this collaboration that you just mentioned. By the way, Abna,
Hello.
hello. So I think we've spoken about the challenges. What do you think women can do? I know you have a very strong story for why you advocate for this. What do you think women can do better? You can speak to the single women, the married women. I don't know if there's anything in between. You can speak to them too.
Well, for me, I would say that as a woman, first of all, don't see a man as your financial plan. Have your own financial plan, and that would mean have a change of mindset, because everything begins in the mind. And whilst you have that mindset, try and read, because if you don't have the information, you become powerless. Information is power, and it's not about financial information. Read and upskill. You could be a stay-home mom right now, but what are you doing in this moment? Because for me, as you already know, I'm trying to get back into the job market, but whilst waiting, you have to upskill. There are so many things you could do to add value to yourself, because the way the world is going, women are already at a disadvantage. So you can't be hired and you don't have any skills to offer and expect to be paid a huge amount of money. So try and add value to yourself, invest in yourself. If it's something upskilling or reskilling, right now in this modern day and age, there are so many boot camps, so many courses you can literally get on Google, YouTube, and learn something. Try and add value to yourself. And when that opportunity comes for you to work, you could earn more. And once you earn more, because you have that information on how to manage and multiply your money, you could take control over your finances. And someone might be listening to me, might be single, be a single mom, or raising children. I know it is hard, especially if you don't have help, but do not give up on your dreams. Keep on pushing, and this too shall pass. Like, these kids will grow, but if you try to say that, oh, my life is all around my kids, and you don't do anything, my sister, you end up regretting. And the men, I'm begging, please try and support us. Sometimes when we are in this stage, we don't even know ourselves. Our minds and everything, it's like already we know women to be people that can multitask, but at this stage, if you try to emotionally or financially abuse us, you put our mental health in a state that we don't even recognize ourselves. So if you know someone going through such a phase, please try and be supportive and encourage the person to come out and try and add value to themselves, because it is depressing. And I've been there, and I am at a point where I can encourage other women. So please, this is what I'll say. Like, let's all be supportive of each other. Let's be kind to people. It's not that people say they don't want to add value. Sometimes they might be in a state where their mind itself doesn't know where it is. I don't know if you can relate to it. And I hope women will tend to support each other. We always say women supporting each other, but you and I know that we are the same people that also bring each other down. Let's try to be supportive of each other and carry ourselves up there. and break that glass ceiling that the world of men are expecting us to break. Thank you and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Abna. That was one powerful submission from your end. It's past time and we'll be wrapping up. We'll go to everyone on your final thoughts for every woman on International Women's Day. But before I continue, I think Elihem said something that is very important. Sometimes when you are single, at least a single woman, because of where we find ourselves, all you can think about is marriage and having babies, which is not a bad thing at all. But there's a blessing in being single that we take for granted. And as Elihem said, this is the time where you have all the time for yourself, at least for most single people. So get to know who you are, get to upskill, do everything you can do to get up there, so that when you have to sacrifice, and trust me, I don't know about Sarah, maybe Sarah, you can respond to this, but I think that after childbirth, you lose yourself for a while. A friend of mine said that it will take her 2 years after each pregnancy to get back to her normal self. At least I did the first time. The second time, thanks to COVID, while I was losing myself, we're all losing ourselves, so it wasn't so apparent. But Sarah, I don't know whether you support the Sarah doesn't seem like she's lost herself though, but Sarah,
Lost and not yet. I'm still finding my way.
Anyway, so I do understand the all night and there is asking for a husband, but trust me, there's a blessing in this season if you are single. So do take advantage and please spend on yourself. Oh, I got married just 6 months after getting my first job, and I think that's my number one regret. I wish I had spent on myself like for a while, chop all the kebab. Now every money you spend, you have to think about it. Then they'll be saying you're chisel. Meanwhile, it's not your fault. Anyway, thank you. Elihem, I'll start with you. As we wrap up, what are you leaving with women today? What do you want? We've said a lot. What do you want to stay with them as we wrap up?
I think my concluding thought would be women should think about themselves also as individuals who can take care of themselves. Right? If things hit the fan, can you take care of yourself? You need to make sure that you are equipping yourself such that you have a buffer of your own that you can fall on. Now that doesn't mean act in a way that will cause that buffer to happen, but it just means make sure that you don't act in a way that will cause that buffer to happen, all right? Yes, but just have a safety net, and sometimes your best safety net is yourself, making sure that you can take care of yourself. What if everything is going well and you lose your husband and you have children? Just think about that. Knowing that you can take care of your own should give you some peace of mind, and then you can operate however you want, whether you want a traditional relationship or a modern one or a conservative one, whatever title you want it to be. Just think about yourself as you as an individual. Can you take care of yourself? Yes, no, then work towards that end and seek out all the support you can get. There are lots of resources. Investment Friend is a good resource. Investment Friend on Instagram. There's Money Convos here, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you have your podcast. Abnasika also has her channels that she talks to people. So just reach out to any of us up here on the panel and we can all help you. So yeah, just tap in and learn. That's what I'd say.
Thank you, Elihem. Let's move to our resident bishop. Edem, what do you have for the girls?
Hey, Mimi. I think like we have said, it's very important that for everybody, and especially for women, that you take charge of your finances and like make it your number one goal. You know, like especially for a young lady who is now building a life, starting a career for yourself. And the issue is about bringing your finances under control, being on top of your finances. It does not necessarily mean that you end the world, but you know what you are about when it comes to your finances, and you can maneuver around whatever you are doing and planning for the future, so that in the event that you get married and you are building a family with someone, you would be a major contributor to that venture. And in the case where an unfortunate incident happens, even later on in life, you should still be able to find your feet and then be able to work around it. So it's important that every year, that is part of your goals, that you are working towards becoming financially free and financially independent, so that you can make change in your own small corner and you can cause a lot of positive impacts wherever you find yourselves. So thank you. That's my.
Thank you, Adam, to our one and only Honorable Rich Auntie.
Hi, Mimi, was that me? Okay.
Who else?
Okay, so day in, day out, on Instagram and on these mom platforms and married platforms, you read people share their stories, like asking for help about how they are stuck in abusive relationships, how they are stuck in toxic environments, but they cannot move out and they have kids in there and they are worried about how to take care of them if they decide to move out. Bottom line is, it's because they are solely dependent financially on the abuser or on the person who is fueling this toxic environment. Money is power. Money gives you access. There are now so many resources out there that would empower you. You can leverage onto control, to learn about your money, learn to be financially independent, or work. We are not saying you'll be financially independent today, but to start working towards it, so that in your daily decisions, in your daily encounters, you know that you have a goal. You are independent. You are control. You have your destiny sort of in your own hands when it comes to regarding your financial destiny. Yes, God is there. God will bless all of us, but at least have control over your money, so that when you find yourself in a situation where you have to walk away or walk out, you don't end up getting killed because you were financially dependent on someone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Uncle Lee.
Yeah, all has been said, but I think to top it up, it's also good that as a woman you have control over your finances. Then you can also teach your children, and then you pass on the knowledge, right? Because if you are not dependent, and probably your child also you are unable to probably take care of that child, it means the dependency extends to another person, and for all you know, through that your life can be controlled, right? So at least when you have the knowledge, you can pass it on to your children, and then at least the child also doesn't become a burden on you.
That's a good one. Like Sarah said, women tend to spend a lot of time with children, but what are we passing on to these children? It's very important, and children tend to learn from their parents, and so we have to be careful. If you were with us when we were reading 13 dumb things smart people do with their money, you would know that people learn from their parents a lot. So we want to be more careful by being prudent with our money, so that at least your son or daughter won't be misbehaving when they get their first salary. Our business tycoon, Prince.
All right, Mimi. So for me, I would say that I want to see um, a woman taking up climbing much to higher on the corporate ladder. I want ladies to know that they should not live in isolation, because life is more about collaboration. So they should collaborate with people that they think that are doing something positive when it comes to the particular goal that they are assuming to achieve, and in this case, as in becoming financially independent. So for me, I think they should collaborate with such people. They should not only look at just being a wife, but they should look at bringing a positive impact to the family, and always understand that tables can turn. And if that is the case, they should not bank all their hopes on their men. Thank you.
Thank you, Prince. Abner.
I think all has been said, though. What I'll add is, woman, make your own money, because money stop nonsense, and save. And save and be wealthy. You don't have to look rich, but have the wealth. Create wealth for yourself, for your family. Build a legacy for yourself. Don't depend entirely on a man. Have your own money. Make a name for yourself, not for a man. That's all I'll add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abner. This has been a wonderful discussion that should be passed on. Sorry, I think we were all muted for some reason. Anyway, this has been a wonderful discussion on why women should take control of their finances. I think every woman should listen to this. So please pass it on to your girlfriend. She'll probably stop worrying you too much for Mumu, and probably because she will be budgeting and doing all those things that will leave her broke at the end of the month. So please pass it on to a woman. You don't know who you'll be helping. You'll be helping generations unborn, because as women, we always tend to multiply whatever it is that we get. So do well to do that. And I think, as has been said, there are so many platforms where you can learn about money, and it's very important that we change our mindset about money by changing our environment, when it comes to money. So if you always saying, Charlie, let's chop men's money, and all those limiting beliefs, please follow us, Money Convos. We have conversations every Wednesdays, and Investment Friends. We are tailored towards women, but we love the men too. So please do well to follow us and follow whatever content we put out there. And trust me, it will be a blessing. And thank you so much for joining, and have a wonderful evening. To the women, yes, we can. Good night.
Good night, everybody. And happy International Women's Day to all of you.
Good night.
I almost said same to you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.